Hi. In this video, we're going to talk about pricing jobs for grounds maintenance using LMN's estimating software. In this specific video, we're going to look at pricing and costing your equipment for grounds maintenance. Now, for most companies, equipment is like an afterthought when estimating. Everybody kind of hopes it's covered somewhere in their hourly rates, but oftentimes most companies have no idea whether it is covered or what it actually costs to run maintenance equipment. So we'll walk ourselves through an example here that'll show you how to figure out exactly what your maintenance equipment does cost you per hour or per job to run, and then how to bid that back into the job so that you make sure when you price your maintenance contracts that you're recovering the costs of all your equipment, big like trucks and large mowers, and even right down to the small stuff like trimmers and blowers, without getting too complicated with estimating. So I'm going to start us by jumping right to the estimating section. So here I'm under Estimate Setup, Estimating Catalog. We're not building an estimate yet. We're just setting up the goods and services for estimating. So here in this menu, I've got a list of all my equipment. I've already set my stuff up, but I'll walk you through what I've set up. The best way to do a crew truck and maintenance trailer is to really separate it and look at things one at a time. The first thing I want to look at is the cost and price of the actual crew truck itself with nothing in it. So here I've got an example of a crew truck with no trailer. So the first thing I did was create this. What I want to do is come up with a cost and a price per hour for one of our crew trucks. And typically it doesn't really matter to me what year the exact crew truck is, and we're not here dealing with specific trucks in our fleet. What I'm trying to do is come up with a cost and price, for example, for a 3/4 ton crew truck, or a cost and price for a 5-ton crew truck. They're going to be different costs and prices. Now, whether that 5-ton is the new one I just bought last year or the one I bought 5 years ago, I'm not too concerned about that. They should have roughly the same cost and price per hour. I don't want to, when I'm bidding jobs, have to know exactly what truck is going to go do the job. I need to know what type, but I'm not going to pick the actual truck. So therefore, you don't have to set up each individual truck here. What you're doing is setting up your different types of trucks with an average cost and price per hour. So I'm going to start here with a crew truck and no trailer. We'll assume this crew truck's about a 3/4 ton truck. And I want to work it out without a trailer first, because oftentimes your crew truck may also work, for example, in the winter, plowing snow, for those of you who don't cut grass in the winter. It may have other uses for it. So in that case, we can recover the cost of this crew truck in snow and in maintenance. So I want to work out the crew truck first across the whole year, and then I'll work out the maintenance trailer in the season that we can use the maintenance trailer. For those of you in the climates where you're going to cut all year round, you don't have to worry about that as much. But for those who have very seasonal climates where you do maybe grounds maintenance for 28 weeks and then do snow in the winter, you're going to want to set it up this way for sure. So I'll start with my crew truck and no trailer. And if you click the calculator button here, this will walk you through how to set up your costs and prices for your crew truck. Now, the important part here is that these total hours per year, or forecast billable hours per year, are the total hours that I feel like this crew truck is going to be able to work in a year. The way to get that number is how many working days do you have in a season? Now, because we're dealing with a crew truck, this means season could be both maintenance and snow. It's total, how many working days a year? And in this case, let's say I have 180 working days and 10 hours a day. And that would bring me to 1,800. That's where I get this number. Now, other ways to look at it might be different. You might be in a very seasonal climate where you have a long winter, and in that case, your typical working days are probably less. Maybe you only work 140 working days a year. And if you worked 10-hour days at 140, you'd be down at 1,400. I always recommend, too, that you back this number off by about 10%, because don't forget we have holidays, and we have rain days, and we have other problems and equipment breakdowns, etc. So even though you might work 180 days, chances are that the truck won't be up and running 100% all 180. So if you do figure on 180, back it off by maybe 10% just to give yourself a little bit of room. You'd rather be slightly overpriced than miss your costs. So I've set this up, and I'm banking on here basically a full season, 2,000 hours, minus a few days of downtime. Typical hours in a working day, I've got 10. You guys can plug in whatever it is that you use. And then your purchase price is average replacement value of the truck. I don't care what the truck's worth today. What I'm looking at is what would it cost me to replace it? And if I buy used, then it'll be the cost of a used truck that I'd replace it. If I buy new, it'll be the cost of a new truck. Market finance rate, I use at least 1 or 2% just to cover inflation. 7 years would be the expected life of the vehicle. This is how long I think one's going to last in my fleet. Again, I'm not worried about what my current truck's expected life are. What I am worried about is how long do I keep pickup trucks on average? So we'll say 7 years. And this is what it's going to be worth at the end of the 7 years, again, on average. Then I'm going to budget for annual maintenance, repair, for insurance, and for my annual licensing, so your DOT sticker or whatever it is that you need to relicense your truck every year. And then down here I've got fuel. Some people get tripped up on the fuel per day, but keep it simple. Your average fuel use per day is pretty easy to work out. Work out how many gallons or liters are in your tank, and then work out how much you fill up per week. Do you fill up once a week, twice a week? So if I have a 100-liter tank or a 25-gallon tank, and I fill up once a week, I'm burning 5 gallons or 25 liters a week approximately. If I fill up twice a week, I'd be up at 10 gallons or maybe 50 liters a week. And then I can divide that by 5 to figure out how many by day. That's a nice and simple way to come up with a good guess on how much fuel you're using per day. At the end of these calculations, LMN is going to tell you the hourly cost and the daily cost, which is just your hours times the number of hours, that you need to recover in your estimates to cover the cost of the equipment. Now, this is the truck only. We haven't yet looked at the cost of the mower, the trailer, the trimmers, the blowers, or anything else that may go in your trailer and grounds maintenance. What I want to do first, though, is just save this. Save this as a crew truck with no trailer all by itself. That way, if I ever do need just a truck on a job with no trailer, A, I've got it saved, but B, I'm going to use it for step 2 of these calculations when I get there. So next thing I want to do is create another equipment item. I'll go add new, except I've already got this one created. I create another equipment item, and what I want to do here is call this crew truck and maintenance trailer. So now what I'm doing is going to create an equipment, which is the truck that we just created, plus a trailer with all the equipment on the back of it. Now the easiest way to do this, rather than working out all the little tools using this screen, for trimmers and for blowers and for that kind of stuff, it's kind of overkill. There is a spreadsheet button right here beside the cost per hour. And what I want you to do is click that, and that will open a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet that looks like this. And this is going to help you calculate the cost for your maintenance equipment. When it opens, you'll see that a sample one has already been created for you. In fact, if you look at the tabs in your Excel, you'll see there's a maintenance example, a construction example, a snow example, and then a bunch of blank ones that you can use to fill out your pieces of equipment. If I go back to my maintenance example, though, you can see I've set this one up with a trailer. And I got one trailer. Now remember, when we're estimating, I'm not going to send 5 trailers to a job. So I'm not adding up all my equipment into this spreadsheet. I'm trying to figure out behind one truck, what are the cost of all the tools and equipment on that trailer. So I've got one trailer. Cost or purchase price is $8,000, and we estimate we'll keep it for 10 years. There's no residual value on this equipment because a lot of times this equipment isn't worth much when we're done with it. We can show you ways to put residual value in, but for the stuff like a trailer where generally it's worth scrap metal when you're done, I'm just going to leave it at a 0 residual value. Now, riding mower. I've got one on the back. It costs $15,000, and we figure we can keep it for 8 years. Now, some of you may actually keep your riding mowers for less and have residual value, and that's easy. So if I had, for example, a riding mower that I bought for $15,000, I kept for 3 years, and then we sold it for $5,000, what you can do is take your purchase cost and subtract your residual value. So if I bought it for $15,000 and sell it for $5,000, then it's really costing me $10,000. And if I'm keeping these for 3 years, then I'll put 3 in there, and that gives me a residual value sort of built into this. The purchase price is lower than the actual purchase price, but what it is the difference between what you paid for it and what you got for it at the end when you roll it over and get a new one. So that's how to do it if you do turn your machines over. If you keep them till the end of their life, it's going to look more something like that, where you have a purchase price in a year's life. And at the end of it, it's basically scrap metal or whatever you get for it, you can put it in your pocket. Mowers. I got 2 of them on the trailer. They're $1,500 each. We'll keep those for 3 years. I've got 3 trimmers. They're $500 each. We keep them for 3. I got 2 blowers. They're $600 each. We keep them for 3. And I got a walk behind, which was $7,000, and we'll get a 10 years life out of it. Now, all these kind of things, remember again, these and the quantities, these are per trailer, not your total counts of this equipment. These are your counts per trailer. Scrolling down here, I've got my cost per year. So what it basically does is take your quantity, your purchase price. Remember also, your purchase price is each. Your purchase price and your year's life, and figures out, okay, what are the costs per year of each one of these pieces of equipment, adds them all together for a total. Now you look at your annual billable hours for this equipment group. Now remember, if you're doing maintenance and you work all year round, well, then it's going to be very similar to the crew truck. If you work in a seasonal climate and you do a lot less work in maintenance because you can't during the winter, for example, then this estimated billable hours is going to be less than your truck. My truck was 1,800 hours, but my equipment here is 1,500 hours. And I'm imagining that I'm going to get a lot less use out of this trailer. The truck might plow snow in the winter, but this isn't going to do anything in the winter. So I need to make sure my billable hours are less than the truck. In this case, I'm estimating that I have, say, 150 days of maintenance work during the year. And at 10 hours a day, that's 1,500. It may be less for you. For some colder climates, it could be as low as 1,200 or 1,100, especially when you back off by 10% to cover for holidays and breakdowns. Be realistic here. Don't overestimate this number. You're just going to end up with a cheap number at the bottom that will not replace all your costs. Really think about how many weeks a year do we do maintenance? It's 5 days a week, or maybe you work 6 days a week, times this many weeks, and that's going to give you your estimated billable hours for this maintenance equipment. Then we've got fuel costs, and fuel costs can be a little trickier to calculate, but what you need to think about is how many cans of fuel would be used in this trailer in any given week. Multiply it by the number of weeks, and multiply it by the number of gallons and the price per gallon to come up with an approximate value of how much fuel you're going to burn in a trailer. So if I burn 10 gallons a day, it'd be 10 gallons a day times 5 days a week. So that's 50 gallons a week times 30 weeks. It'd give me that number times the price per gallon. That's how I'm going to get my estimated fuel cost. Then I've got repair costs, which is a bit of a ballpark, but it's the cost of maintaining the trailer and the mowers and that sort of stuff. And then my insurance costs, which would be pretty cheap. Your insurance on a trailer, etc., is going to be dirt cheap. Remember, we've already covered the truck's fuel and the truck's insurance when we did the crew truck. So we're not interested in those numbers here. All we're looking at in these numbers is the actual trailer cost itself. When you're done that, you're going to get a monthly ROI, and that's used for when you build a budget, and you're going to get an hourly cost. So here my hourly cost for this maintenance trailer is about $7.70. So what I can do now, and remember, this is in Excel. This isn't an LMN. This is in Excel. So what I'm going to do now is I want to take this number and put it back into my maintenance equipment estimating in LMN. So you can copy it or you can remember it. And then I'm going to flip back to LMN right now. Now I had a crew truck and maintenance trailer. I'll just zero this out to be where you would be right now if you were following along with me. Remember that our crew truck that we worked out earlier, and I'll flip back to that just to remind you, our crew truck with no trailer had a cost per hour of $8 an hour. My maintenance trailer, if you remember back to our spreadsheet, had a cost of $7.70 an hour. So I have $8 an hour for the crew truck, $7.70 an hour for the trailer. Now, you've got crew truck and maintenance trailer as your equipment item. This is the new one that you're creating. Here's your cost per hour. You don't even need to use this calculator. You've done all the calculations already. You've got a truck at $8 and you've got a trailer at $7.70. Add those two together, and I'm just going to type right into here, $15.70. That's the total combined cost per hour for the truck and for the maintenance trailer with all the tools on it. Coming down here, LMN will add overhead, add profit, and these numbers are coming from your budget, and then give you the hourly rate that you need to charge, $21.81 an hour. Now remember, that's not per man. When we worked out the crew cost or the labor cost, that's the hourly rate per man per hour. So if you had 3 people in the crew, the actual cost of this equipment per man hour is this divided by 3. So it's not 21 an hour per man, it's 21 an hour for the crew. But the hourly rate that you need to get for this equipment is $21.81. And we'll look at how to make sure this is estimated correctly in the next videos when we get into estimating. But now you know exactly what you need to charge for your equipment per hour, or sure that you recover all your costs. And that includes the replacement value of your equipment, your insurance, your fuel, all the little tools and equipment that are on your trailer. Now you can be confident knowing that when you do bid a job, you're sure that the cost of your equipment, the cost of replacing that equipment, are going to be covered by your customers and not come out of your profits or what you thought were profits at the end of the year. If you had any questions about this video or how to calculate your equipment costs, feel free to shoot us an email at support@golmn.com. Or if you're looking for some hands-on training like the workshops we offer, a webinar schedule, or some of our free training events hosted at our office, then check out our events calendar at www.golmn.com/events.